Welcome in. We cannot wait to show you that moment at Lizzo's concert last night over at Golden One Center. We're also talking about Memorial Day, of course. The president spoke at Arlington, and thousands in our area paid their respects at ceremonies. And we have some of your photos of who you're remembering today. But first, let's get to our top stories and what people are talking about tonight. First up, it's a picture that really shows the dangers of police chases. Tonight, a deputy and 3 other people were sent to the hospital following this chase and crash. This happened around Airport Way and Highway 120 in Manteca. The sheriff's office says that the deputy was in pursuit of armed carjacking suspects. Breaking news out of South Sacramento tonight. A suspect barricaded themselves inside a home at 41st Street and 37th Avenue following a chase. SWAT had to be called in. The suspect is now under arrest. And tonight, people in Roseville are grieving after a weekend crash killed 3 21-year-old men. The CHP says the driver was speeding along Vineyard Road when the car hit a power pole and then it flipped. Our Rebecca Hubbaker has the story tonight.
The scene of Sunday morning's deadly crash in Placer County is now a memorial to the 3 21-year-old men who lost their lives, including Lane Castro, whom friends are identifying and remembering as a well-loved person.
Lane was honestly just like a light.
I met up with Zach Claiborne at Maidu Park in Roseville. He went to Oakmont High School with Lane and met him through their shared love of rap and producing music.
To me, Lane was a producer. He was a friend. I got to know Lane through making music and through doing shows with Lane. I remember we did our first show ever in the back of a barbershop. Just getting to know him and getting to hear more about his story and more about his passion for music, I feel like just grew us as friends.
Zach and I talked on a bench memorializing another young person who died not too long ago.
Yeah, so there's been a lot of just honestly passings in this community lately. A lot of kids that I went to high school with. So this right here is actually a bench commemorating Nate Horton, who passed away earlier this year. It's really sad to see people my age, especially, when you have a relationship with them, to see that they're gone. And it's honestly a weird feeling.
These most recent deaths happened just before 2 a.m. early Sunday morning, just outside Roseville city limits. The California Highway Patrol says a 2008 BMW was speeding westbound along Vineyard Road, just west of Cook Riolo Road, when it hit a power pole and flipped several times. All 3 21-year-old men were pronounced dead on scene. All throughout the weekend, friends have been gathering at this crash site memorial, grieving the loss.
And a toxicology report will show whether any substances were involved in the crash. Meanwhile, their friends say that they want to organize a car cruise to honor their friend. Climate change, it's impacting California in ways that are unimaginable. The latest issue, another home insurance company says that they are leaving the state. On Friday night, State Farm announced that they are no longer accepting new applications for home insurance in California due to wildfires and inflation, making it even more expensive to rebuild. Current policies are not impacted, but State Farm joins AIG in leaving the state. An insurance consumer advocate tells ABC 10 that people in rural areas have been navigating an insurance crisis for years.
Should people be thinking about as we head into another peak fire season this summer as they're trying to get their homes covered?
Right. So if you've got coverage, hold on to it. Be a good, responsible homeowner.
Here are 3 things that you should be doing right now to prepare for the months ahead. Create an evacuation plan. Plan what you need to do in case you are separated from your family during an emergency and if you have to evacuate. Also, create a defensible space. People need to clear about 100-foot buffer around their homes to try to help spare them in the event of a wildfire. And you can also check out CAL FIRE's website. It's called readyforwildfire.org to create your own fire preparedness plan. Let's go ahead and bring in Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods, looking at our fire season and where it stands right now, right?
Right. So last year was a little bit of an anomaly because it was a little bit lower. In total, we had 7,490 fires, acres burned, about 360,000. So where do we compare to last year at this point in the season? We're way down from that. We've only had 985 fires and about 1,000 acres burned, in part because of the huge snowpack and rainfall that we saw over the course of the winter season. So everything is still really green, as you can see with our satellite image right here, over towards the coast, through the foothills, some browning right now through parts of the valley, but compare that to last year, and you can see how much browning was already occurring at the lower elevations. We've got more rain and snow to talk about, though, Alex. I'll have that in a little bit.
Well, for the past 155 years, Americans have marked Memorial Day. Last Monday, the last Monday of May is federally recognized holiday for honoring and mourning U.S. military members who died while serving in the armed forces. As President Biden said today at Arlington National Cemetery, it's a day to remember the mothers, the fathers, sons, daughters, sisters, spouses, and friends who have paid the ultimate sacrifice.
Every year, as a nation, we undertake this rite of remembrance. For we must never forget the price that was paid to protect our democracy. We must never forget the lives these flags, flowers, and marble markers represent.
Some 400,000 Americans are buried at Arlington, including President Biden's son, Beau. And memorial events were held across our region, including in Lodi's Cherokee Memorial Park. Veterans in attendance were recognized by their branch of service. Wreaths were presented for those who died fighting. Doves were released and 4 planes performed a very moving missing man aerial salute. And we spoke to one veteran, Arthur Valenzuela's widow.
It just was very touching when I came though and sat here because it is recent for me and I'm still processing, still grieving.
Valenzuela served in the Army as a baker in the war in Vietnam and survived to become a minister before he recently passed. And check this out. This was over in Midtown Sacramento. An organist played patriotic tunes for people to come and sit in and reflect. There were also chimes that played the national anthem from the auditorium every hour to commemorate veterans and fallen soldiers. And we have been asking you to share on our social media platforms photos of who you're remembering on this day. And we had some of you guys actually write in. John Joseph Montoya shared this photo of his grandfather's cousin. His name is Medardo Tafoya, and he was born in Mexico and raised in Yolo and Woodland. He says that Tafoya's plane was shot down over Italy, and he was captured, tortured, and executed by Nazis. Later, Tafoya was awarded 2 Purple Hearts, an Air Medal, and a Medal of Honor. And we deeply thank you for sharing these photos and stories with us. You can continue to share by texting us at 916-321-3310, or you can always email us at tothepoint@abc10.com. Coming up next, the power of water. Mother Nature is really showing off right now at Yosemite National Park.
And it's still raining and areas of snowfall for the high country. How long this pattern persists and then when the warmer weather arrives.
And closing the achievement gap, one Black teacher at a time.
I did not have representation that looked like me. I did not get my first African American teacher till high school. I did not get my first African American male teacher till 11th grade. And that was the only one I got in grade school.
In tonight's main point, how representation in the classroom is making a difference. Take a close look at your screen right now. Those little dots next to all of that water, that's people. That's people right there. This photo was just taken in Yosemite National Park. It shows Vernal Fall, one of the most popular waterfalls in the park. If you do want to visit the park, make sure you plan ahead. It is very busy this time of season, and you'll want to get there before 9 a.m. to avoid traffic. Oh my goodness, Monica.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed out those people. I would have never known that that's how close you can actually get to that.
I've never been, but seeing that picture makes me want to go.
Yeah.
And all that water, I mean, it really just shows how fast that the Merced River is running right now. And those rivers in our area, I mean, that's no exception, right?
Of course, and we're seeing rain on top of that snow that's up in the higher elevation, so that's adding to the extra element of that snow melt and some lightning strikes as well. So not necessarily the safest place to be in the high country. I mentioned areas of snow. I wanted to zoom in a little bit closer here. Yosemite National Park just to the south there. You see some of that blue. That is high elevation snow. Colder air mass in place right now, so snow lines at about 9,000 to 10,000 feet. But we have some peaks in the Sierra that actually reach that elevation and even beyond. As far as that thunderstorm risk for tomorrow, it's still present pretty much in the same area that we've been seeing repeated day after day with our flood watch through Tuesday evening for flood-prone areas. Creeks, streams, rivers just running pretty high right now. 70s and 80s, that's where we topped out today for the lower elevations, right about the mid-60s to near 70 for the high country. And you can see it's been a relatively cool holiday weekend. Average high about 85 degrees. And we're going to stay on the cooler side for the next couple of days until we start to get some of that warmer weather developing around this ridge of high pressure. That's also going to suppress some of the thunderstorm activity later this week. 60s tomorrow for the high country, 70s down low with 60s along the coast, 70s inland. A little bit warmer for the valley. We'll warm to highs in the upper 70s to right around the lower 80s, and we'll stay there for about one more day. Risk of thunderstorms will continue through the weekend forecast for the high country. Otherwise, for the rest of us, it is just going to be a warming trend for the first weekend of June, I should say, highs in the 90s.
If you are traveling this summer, there are a lot of changes happening this year compared to last year. And it's mostly good news, actually. The people who track travel prices say that it's going to be a very busy domestic travel season. Prices are down about 20% from this time last year. But for international travel, prices are higher. You can also expect to pay more for hotels. Average prices for hotels are up about 10% over last year. But rental cars, here's some good news, almost down 20% from this time last year. And to save even more money, make sure that you avoid the weekends if you can. Checking in on Sunday and staying through the week could save you hundreds of dollars. All right, let's get to tonight's main point. Student achievement gaps in California are large and persistent. Year after year, Black students consistently have lower academic performance than white students, and that includes test scores, attendance, and suspension rates. ABC 10's lead race and culture reporter Candace Redd spoke with an educator in Elk Grove who is really working to make a positive change. Take a look.
Time check, 9 o'clock, so we got about 30 minutes. Keep up the great work. Thank you to those who are finished.
As a math teacher, Marcus Atkins is working to make a positive change.
I wanted to make sure none of my students ever said I never had an African-American male teacher.
Atkins is from Sacramento and says he often felt isolated as a Black student in public school.
I did not have representation that looked like me. I did not get my first African-American teacher till high school. I did not get my first African-American male teacher till 11th grade. And that was the only one I got in grade school.
This is the latest data from the California Department of Education. It shows there were more white teachers in public schools than Black teachers during the 2018 to 2019 school year.
That definitely affected the way I felt at school a lot of times. And which is one of the reasons I ended up going to a HBCU, because I knew going to an HBCU would give me a different perspective, as it did.
Historically, Black colleges and universities, also called HBCUs, are institutions that were established prior to 1964 to help educate Black people. Atkins graduated from Hampton University in Virginia.
And are still maintaining that respect so we can have a great learning environment.
He eventually began teaching at Fortune Middle School in Elk Grove.
Teaching or anything within education was where I was trying to go.
Fortune School of Education was established in 1989. It's a network of public charter schools created to address the disparities in academic performance between Black students and white students.
Our mission is to graduate high-achieving students of good character, prepared for college and citizenship in a democratic society.
According to the California Department of Education, graduation rates for Black students dropped by more than 4% in the 2020 to 2021 school year, while graduation rates for white students went up nearly 0.5%.
Unfortunately, it's not a surprise because historically, our Black students have struggled to succeed as well as their peers in California.
Michael Lynch is the CEO of the nonprofit Improve Your Tomorrow. He says more Black students can succeed with equitable access to resources in education and society overall.
The conditions in which Black students show up to their schools matters. So both the infrastructure, the housing, food insecurity, the economic circumstances. So if Black students aren't showing up to school fed, felt secure, It may be leaving challenging homes and environments. The city and county is responsible for that.
Lynch says the shortage of Black teachers also contributes to the achievement gap in education.
If you're often not interacting with a teacher who shares your same cultural experiences, if you're in class where you may not be engaged, all of these challenges are disproportional amongst Black students. So I don't think it's one entity that's solely responsible, but rather a systemic structure that has historically failed Black students to make sure that they can succeed at their best level.
This needs to get done. I told you, y'all thought I was playing about the objective. It needs to get done.
It continues to be a fight. and it's a fight that I'm willing to fight for. Our scholars are everything. They are our future. I see myself in all of them, and honestly, I'm here to give them a better experience than what I got.
And even though Fortune is open to everyone, they are looking to hire more diverse teachers, especially in science and math. So for more information, you can visit our website, abc10.com/tothepoint. You always know we love to show you what we're working on for tomorrow. So coming up, the crisis is growing in K through 12 schools. Our Verified team is hearing from teachers who are burned out, fed up, and they are hanging on by a thread.
I don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't know how much longer I have in me.
Am I burned out? Yes, I've been burned out for quite some time. That stress is compounding.
I need a pep talk right now because I'm not sure if I can come back Monday at this point.
So in this two-part series, we explain the impact the teacher shortage has on kids and what's being done about it. Watch Verify's The Burnout Equation starting tomorrow on To The Point.
It's got annexes, it's notated, it's got a bibliography.
That's Lizzo. She performed at the Golden One Center last night and even read a Sacramento State student's thesis. Yeah, you'll definitely want to stick around for this story after the break. So that's Lizzo in concert last night at the Golden One Center. If you haven't heard of her, she won Record of the Year at the Grammys this year. And during last night's show, Lizzo read a Sacramento State master's thesis and signed it. Photojournalist Vanessa Bizzuto caught up with the professor and recent master's graduate about the moment to remember.
I wrote it, of course, and Lizzo was the inspiration, but truthfully, and this is just going to show you the art of manifesting, I knew when she told me that she had Lizzo tickets, my first response to you was, can you take my thesis and try to throw it on the stage?
And I found some really lovely people outside, asked them that if they had pit tickets, they said yes. They took it inside and sent me messages along the way to show me that it had made it through security, the thesis made it onto the pit. And then at the end of the concert, when Lizzo goes around and hugs different people and talks to them, I heard her say, "What did you bring me? A manuscript?" And I thought to myself, oh my God, it's happening.
Women's bodies as sites of rhetorical resistance.
My friend kept yelling that the professor was in the room, and people started chanting, "She's right here," and I kind of got shoved out into the aisle.
Good professor. Professor Andrea.
The idea was to look at the argumentative force of women's bodies, like within social protests.
Lexington, I need your help tonight.
Lizzo's like special in that she gives like a space for certain voices who may be traditionally marginalized, that may not get to articulate like these nuanced, important perspectives that concern like their needs. Also, how she's like creating this nuanced space for other people to be who they want to be.
It's got annexes, notated. This is beautiful. I'm signing it. Where's the pen?
You can really see like manifested in the actual concert how effective her activism is and how powerful that act of celebration is. To be able to be part of that, I just felt so uplifted, and Lizzo was so kind and complimentary.
I truly believe that things can change, not only on the micro, but the macro level as well, if like important voices keep getting centered.
Thank you for cultivating young minds and helping people and allowing people to express themselves, especially in a time when our voices are being silenced on a daily basis. Thank you, Professor Andrea. Thank you for creating a safe space for young people to learn and to be radical in their education. Thank you, Professor Andrea.
I still can't believe this story. And yes, let's clap for all of our teachers and professors who always work hard. So happy that thesis got the recognition that it deserves too. As always, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Please let us know what's going on in your community. I've got Instagram, Facebook, or you can always email me and the team. I'll see you tomorrow. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.